With us at the Skyview Motorsports desk, I have Ben May, president of the Tricky Triangle, also known as Pocono Raceway. Ben, you got a race coming up here shortly, and you must be really excited for NASCAR to come in and show their very best.
Oh my goodness, it's always a long 11 months between races, right? We keep ourselves busy, we have a blast doing it. We're in the fun business, but you're absolutely right. It's showtime. NASCAR is back in Northeast Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I was there. I was credentialed a couple of years ago, and I had a great time. The people, they're very hospitable, great people there that work at the track, the volunteers, the track personnel. You have a great time. And it's also right off the freeway, just a couple miles down. It's like close enough to the freeway, but far enough. And it's just a great place to come out there and had a great time. Last year NASCAR came. Ryan Blaney was the victor at the race, and there's always fantastic racing action for all three turns. That's why it's called the Tricky Triangle, right, Ben? And so it's the only three-turn racetrack in NASCAR, and you must be proud of that, as everybody is that comes there.
Yeah, it's neat, right? We know we're unique. We like being unique. We're a family-owned, operated business, an independent racetrack. We've been on the Cup Series schedule for 52 years. So to say that we're still out here, we're still doing it, we're still doing a great job. And you mentioned the setting. I always feel like it's amazing when you sit in the grandstands and you look out in the Pocono Mountains, the greenery, right?
Oh,
There's no high rises around. There's no homes. It's just a beautiful, clean and green space.
yeah, and with that, this is an excellent place for camping. I have walked through the infield, and people have a blast there, and also outside the track as well. And there's a lot of fun things happening in 2025 at the Great American Getaway Race. Tell us a few of those things for those people that just need to be reminded why they bought tickets or why they should.
Yeah, so you mentioned a second ago about how you felt like family when you were here. That's who we are, right? The legacy of our founders,
Hmm.
Dr. Joe and Dr. Rose, are really what drives us as this family-owned business. A lot of the folks that work here, we have a tenured staff. A lot of them knew Doc and they knew Rose, right? And this place is just really special to them. So, number one, we're going to treat you like family. Hopefully, the good part, obviously.
Yeah.
And we're going to make sure you arrive at a clean facility, a pretty facility, one that's well maintained, and then that you have a heck of a time. I tell folks all the time that haven't been to a NASCAR race, that it's just a very different mentality and experience, right? If you're going to the Phillies game or an Eagles game, you're going to tailgate, you're going to walk into the stadium 30 minutes, an hour before the game, but our fans are here at 8 a.m. in the morning, right, for a 2 o'clock, 2:30 race. And so we just take a lot of pride and a lot of joy in making sure we're packing our fan zone, we're packing the fan experience, and everything you get to experience at the racetrack that you don't see on TV is worth your time and energy.
Yeah. Now, what are a couple specific activities in the fan zone and family activity
Yeah,
center that
so
you have
so
this
we're
year?
quite proud of this. NASCAR had a program last year where they had a technology that was counting fans and doing things of that nature, and our fan zone stacked up as number three on the circuit for the entire series. So the Daytona 500, obviously number one, where it should be, right, as the king of all races. So when you get to our fan zone, it's a huge lot. It's maybe about 10 acres or so. And so a couple things happening, right? So one, our Veterans Village. We have a retired Sergeant Major, Kevin Bittenbender, does a heck of a job of making sure that our veterans are showcased, our armed forces are showcased. So we'll have a full service live action Black Hawk from the National Guard in there. We'll have resources for recruiting, resources for development, everything you need in our Veterans Village, cannons. It's a really cool spot. So next to that, we have our kids zone and our free carnival. So we have an old school free carnival. Inside of that, we have bounce houses, face painting, and all the fun stuff for the kids. Everything free. Nothing you have to pay for to ride the rides there. And then in our lower fan zone is where the driver's souvenir trailers are, where our corporate partners are, where all the shopping is, and then also where our fan stage is. So we
Yeah.
had the number one fan stage in the sport last year. And that stage, you'll have to check it out at PoconoRaceway.com and see what's on there. But everything from driver appearances to bands to fun and games. So everything in our fan zone is really just built around, I call it simple fun, right? There's kind of a part of life that I feel like we all miss that we like to deliver here at Pocono. So whether it's a carnival, whether it's interacting with military folks, or just watching live music and drinking a cold beer, right? That's really just who we are at our core.
Sounds fantastic to me. I'm certainly sold. As far as some NASCAR drivers and teams and that, what is some of the feedback you've had over the last couple of years at racing at Pocono?
Yeah, Denny Hamlin had a great
He loves
quote.
your track.
He does. He's our all-time winningest driver too. So he
Yeah.
knows how to get around this place. But I think his quote was similar to he was talking about the energy of Pocono and just how it felt different. And I think he used the word that the place was revived and things like that. And I thought that was pretty cool. Where a guy that's been around for 20 years has seen just as much as I've seen here at Pocono. And for him to take notice and say, "Man, this place is cool. You got to go see it." I mean, it does help that he wins here a lot. So, I don't think we get the nicest comments from drivers that don't know how to get around this place. But, if you're a winner, and I think it takes a talented, well, they're all talented, but it takes a driver, a little bit to understand how this place works. Because it's not one of the mile and a half, right, where they see a bunch of them a year. They're coming to a track that has
Yeah.
three turns, three different degrees of banking. They see it once, and you don't just show up fast.
Our family stories are your family stories, except with more confetti.
Relive racing history with a walk along Glory Road, or try your hand at our fan favorite racing simulator or pit crew challenge. Feel the passion and thrill of racing with stories and artifacts from the legends who shaped the sport in the Hall of Honor and Heritage Speedway.
Visit the NASCAR Hall of Fame in Charlotte for the ultimate outing. NASCAR Hall of Fame, this is our sport. This is our house.
With us, Pocono Track President Ben May, president of the Tricky Triangle. And NASCAR, now if you don't want to answer this question, I get it, because I live near MIS. They went from two races to one. You guys did the same. You've had Indy, you've had IMSA, you've had pretty much everybody over the years. What type of footprint do you want to see Pocono have in the upcoming years? And would NASCAR ever entertain the tracks having one race go back to two, or you think that ship has sailed? It's up to you how you answer it.
Yeah, I tend to think that one race is where we'll be on the NASCAR circuit. I mean, of course, if NASCAR wanted to have a conversation with us about a second race, we would absolutely entertain it. But what I think is really interesting about NASCAR in the Northeast, and I always put Dover in this category when I talk about this, right? Is forever we had seven races, Cup Series, right? We had two Pocono, two Dover, two New Hampshire, one Watkins Glen.
Yeah.
Right. So now you have one Pocono, one Dover, one New Hampshire, one Watkins Glen, and all four of us are thriving. Right. So that tells me a little bit of something about the supply and demand here in the Northeast. I mean, this is an incredibly important market for the world, right? We're
Sure.
sandwiched in here. We're in a triangle between New York and Philadelphia. I mean, a third of the U.S. population lives within 300 miles of Northeast Pennsylvania. But what has just been so obvious to me over the years of watching this, and this is a post-pandemic comment, is that Pocono has been sold out for 2 years in a row. Dover came close to a sellout. New Hampshire was sold out. Watkins Glen and comes close to, if not, is sold out. So it
Yeah.
tells me that the supply and demand ratio or balance for Cup racing in the Northeast is right where it needs to be.
Okay.
So I think that's an important thing to say, because when you look at racetracks, the drivers want them full, the partners want them full. We obviously want
Yeah.
the stands to be full, and the four of us are delivering on that.
Well, it sounds good to me. I like your explanation. Are you looking to get other races from other series, or are you kind of like where you're at? And what other activities are you having at the track?
We're always open to talking to other series. It's tough. This place is huge. It's expensive to operate. So when you look at the economics of another series, that's really what you're looking at, right? Is okay,
Okay.
who could race here on a 2.5 mile triangle, right? And what would that look like from, could we sell tickets? Could we sell sponsorship, right? There's just the business of racing. But what we found a lot of success with, and where we continue to push in an aggressive manner, is using this facility as an entertainment complex, right? We'll always
Right.
be a racetrack. We'll always be known as a racetrack, but we have a music festival in August, Elements Arts and Music Festival. We have Mud Girl runs. We have Tough Mudders. We have a Lantern Festival. We have a very healthy track rental business of around 300 track days a year between Porsche clubs and racing schools and motorcycle groups and drags and drifters and things of that nature. So, we love where we are today. We love the success we're having with NASCAR. We love the success we're having on the entertainment side of this facility. And my job and my plan to go forward is to continue to grow it on the entertainment side. You mentioned we're 2 miles, 3 miles off the interstate, right? We're about 90
Right.
miles from New York, 90 miles from Philadelphia. There's no lack of population, right, in the greater region. Now, there's a lack of population in our backyard, but not so much when you look at who's an entertainment seeker or who's looking to
Yeah.
do things.
Well, I like what you said because it seems like many of the NASCAR tracks are becoming multi-purpose facilities, and from entertainment, music festivals, a lot of them are doing just like what you're saying. To bring Tough Mudder, man, brings a hardcore crowd that comes in there, and like you say, you have all the different rental days when people can come in. And so that keeps you busy and profitable because that's the other part. I mean, if you only can have one race weekend a year, you got to be profitable. And it sounds like Pocono's doing all of that and doing it great. I want to turn to NASCAR itself. Do you have any predictions coming up for this particular, for your event coming up in a couple of weeks, or type of racing, or you tell me?
So I always feel like this place is just you don't just show up and win, right? I said that a little bit ago, and I
Right.
think that's an important statement, right? You look at our last two winners, Ryan Blaney, right, multi-time Pocono winner, Denny Hamlin, all-time Pocono winner, right? So, for a rookie or a first-year guy to put it in victory lane in the Cup Series, it's going to be a special drive. Now, I mean, that's the beauty of NASCAR, right? Is anybody can win each week. And the next gen cars just race so well here. I mean, they put on a show at Michigan. That car puts on a show at the bigger tracks, and I think that's important. So I don't know. I mean, anybody can win. That's what I love about Cup Series racing. And if I step back a day to Saturday on the
Yeah.
Xfinity Series, that car and those drivers have put on a show here for years. But they put on a show about everywhere. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm going with vet. I always go with a veteran at Pocono.
Guess what? I see the approach that you had with the answer. I think you just love everybody. You just want a great race, people to have a great time, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. So, for people that are looking to buy tickets, Ben, give us the website address and give that final pitch on why people should come on out to the track if you're on the fence, and because you might have a few tickets left, but not many. Is that kind of where I'm
Yeah,
here?
we're doing quite well. We're tracking for our third consecutive sellout, which makes me incredibly happy, obviously. So PoconoRaceway.com/tickets. We have all three national series here: Truck Series on Friday, Xfinity Series on
Oh,
Saturday, the Cup Series on Sunday. But check out PoconoRaceway.com and I can save you a few bucks. Use my first name Ben as the promo code and keep a few bucks in your pocket. The kids 12 and under are free, which is incredibly important as well here. So we're just so proud to say that a family of four with two young children can come to Pocono for around $120, free parking, bring a cooler. There's very little in our lives we can do, at this level of entertainment for 120 bucks. But at Pocono Raceway, you absolutely can.
all right. Love it. I'm sold. Everybody, we want to see you come on out and pack Pocono. There's tickets left, but not a whole lot. So make sure you check it out. You're going to have a great time with your family or with your friends, whatever way you roll. All right. Ben May, track president of the Tricky Triangle known as Pocono Raceway. We're going to be hosting the Great American Getaway 400 for NASCAR. And so for Ben May, myself, Roy J. Akers, we're going to catch you on the next Zoomcast. That's coming up here pretty quick as we're talking about Mexico, we're talking about Pocono, Atlanta. We just keep rolling every week. Thank you.